Without further ado, our President Peter Griffin for his annual report.
Thanks. We had a great email today from one of our members, and today we made him an honorary member. His name is George Potopnik, and many of you would know him, and Jan, a long-time member of the WBRA, in fact, way back when we first started. Also, we opened the first Edmund store in 1967, I think, in Wasaga Beach, and he wrote to us. Actually, we wrote to him saying, "You haven't paid us $20," and he wrote back saying, "We're living in Barrie now in a retirement home through health and age," and he said it's sad, but you know that's the way it is. But he wants to stay in touch with Wasaga Beach, so we made him an honorary member so we can actually send him his updates as we do to the rest of you. But I just wanted to read his response this afternoon. He said, "I followed the Wasaga Beach news through the Beach Booster. We certainly wish we were back with our neighbours and friends, but it is what it is. This will be a great decade for Wasaga Beach. Keep Wasaga growing. Regards, Jan and George Potopnik." So, a real class act. So on with the agenda. Another year's gone by. It didn't seem that like a year ago we were sitting here, you know, and I was presenting information. Can you hear me back there? Is that okay?
I'll hold it for you.
No, it's okay. They can hear it.
You clear okay?
Yeah. So here we are again, the same Ratepayers team, working hard for you. We really do need some new recruits though, so some of you are very capable out there, so if you really want to help the community and help us, we're willing to chat and bring you on board. Remember that our philosophy is really to be informed and to be engaged, and you know, we've certainly seen a lot more engagement over the last couple of years, and also being a member. So, you know, if your neighbours and friends haven't joined, they need us and we need them, so give them a friendly reminder. So it's now 2 years in for our current council, halfway through the term already. We have questions, and I'm pretty sure you do too. What's been achieved so far? What's the residents' mood like in our beautiful town today? Have our expectations changed from a year ago? Where are we on the beachfront development after Fran's departure? What will our next tax increase look like after that huge OPP shock that was announced? We're delighted to have Mayor Smith and his team here tonight, so I'm sure some of those questions will be answered in his presentation, and if not, I'm sure he'll be willing to answer them. In 2025, WBRA, we plan to have a fundraiser to build up our reserves and put us in good shape, better shape, for the following year, which will be leading up to the election year. So this year we promised you we would conduct a survey through our Speak Up Wasaga website. This survey was launched back in June, and it ran through to September. And you, our members, provided lots of responses, lots of comments. We also posted in the Beach Booster a couple of times, so we got the wider audience through the Beach Booster newspaper. You'll be the first to see these results. We'll share them officially with Mayor Smith and his team after this meeting. So, first slide, Dave. So the beachfront redevelopment. These plans were made public on June 20th. I've got some sample comments that were made, but first of all, the percentages. 70% of the people who responded said, yes, I support the plan. 21% no, they have issues with the plan. They don't particularly know what those issues are, but they're quite a collective. And 10% had another option, which I'm not quite sure what that was, but they didn't respond positively. Some of the comments we received. Thanks. I support development, but it needs to be unique enough that include winter activities. I most certainly support the beachfront redevelopment plan as presented. This type of infrastructure will serve to attract the right type of people to our town, spend their money here so we expand our commercial tax base and take the pressure off the reliance on our residential taxes to fund projects like the arena. Another comment, change is always difficult, but we need to make this place, our town, something to be proud of. Let's move into the future. Another comment, I like it just as it is. And another comment, the WBRA campaigned against condos on the beach and we were called hypocrites. What we did campaign against is 6-story condos along Beach Drive, and that was a successful protest. Next slide, Dave. A high school and community hub. 84% said yes, they support this plan. 12% no, I have issues with the plan. 3% other options. Some of the comments, just a few. Ingenious approach to secure funding. If you recall Andrew's presentation, it was pretty neat the way they went about getting that support from provincial government. With the new arena, the school, and the new proposed housing development all in the same area, the traffic will be horrendous and difficult for existing residents in the area. And the last comment, a much needed added bundle of services and programs. We got lots of comments, by the way. These are just sample comments that I pulled out. Next slide, Dave. Dave, next slide.
That is the next slide.
Oh, sorry. So public engagement. We've seen a lot more public engagement than we had the previous 4 years. The message is 55% are very satisfied, 32% are somewhat satisfied, and 10 are not satisfied. So there's still room for improvement, and I'm pretty sure that Mayor Smith and the team understand that. And we've seen some improvements to their website and the communications that they've been putting out, so they're well on the path, the right path. I should point out, by the way, that some of the negative comments were when we published in the Beach Booster. So it wasn't members who were given the really bad negative comments. It was some of the Facebook trolls out there, I believe. Next slide, Dave. We asked you about tax increases. Try to get a handle on, did you understand why the tax increases went up in 2022 and 2023 the way they did? 21% said they were very satisfied, they understood the situation. 43% were somewhat satisfied, and that's not a bad statistic when we're talking taxes. And 35% were not satisfied. Some of the comments, we can't just put all the blame on the T-PAL, which is the twin-pad arena library. There have been a lot of unneeded expenses during the last 2 years, e.g. wages, all kinds of new trucks, etc. Accessing grants was very poorly handled by the previous council. Would prefer that we as a town find other ways to generate revenue so as to alleviate the tax burden from property taxes. I believe it's a variety of factors which caused the increase, and I'm disappointed in the increase in taxes without an equivalent increase in services. When it comes right down to it, there's not a good thing you can say about increasing your taxes every year. So, medical walk-in clinic, the next slide, Dave. 56% very satisfied, 26% somewhat satisfied, 12% not satisfied. Most of the 12% didn't believe that it should be an expense of the town, and I think we've had significant grant funding to cover those expenses and more. Some of the comments, I don't use this facility, but glad it's here for our growing population. Another one, I didn't have a doctor for 2 years, so for new residents, it's a fabulous service. Their hours need to be expanded so it is accessible 7 days a week. We should not be spending any municipal public money on this. This is a provincial responsibility. Why are we funding service from non-Wasaga Beach patients? Next slide, Dave. We asked you about where do you get most of your primary information, and Not surprised, Beach Booster came out on top as the highest source. Town of Wasaga Beach website comes in at 18%. WBRA came in at 17%, and 7% CTV News Barry, 6% the Simco.com newsletter, 5% Facebook, I'm glad it's only 5%, and 21% said other, and that other is mostly a combination of several of those, so we just put it under an other category. So that's the primary source of trusted information. Next slide, Dave. We asked you what the residency status was. 90% were permanent residents of Wasaga Beach, 7% were part-time or cottages, 1% non-resident property owner, and 2 was other, which I have no idea what that is. So first of all, thank you. We had well over 200 plus responses to this survey, and lots of comments, a lot more than I could read out tonight without keeping you here till midnight. So thank you for that, and we'll continue to look at other surveys we can do each year to really assess what the real population thinking is, and I'm sure towns doing the very same thing. So are there any questions on what I presented so far on the survey? Any surprises? Oh, good. No surprise, there's only 5% Facebook. Okay, thanks again for your engagement in the survey. Thanks again for coming out tonight. And as I said, details will be shared with Mr. Smith and his team sometime in the next day too. Thank you, everybody.